Alzheimer's disease devastates families who have to endure watching their loved ones lose their memories, and there is no cure. Carolee McGrath sat down recently with Meghan Lemay of the Alzheimer's Association of Massachusetts and New Hampshire, and John Lund, an Alzheimer's caregiver, to learn more about the impact of the disease and the support available for families coping with it.
My parents were both diagnosed with Alzheimer's within 30 days of each other, roughly. It has since taken my mom's life, and it's taking my dad's life. It's an incredibly challenging event and disease. We've been in this journey for 6 years now with my dad. It was maybe 4 with my mom. But it's been very difficult. But quite honestly, talking about them is a very therapeutic thing. I think I mentioned to you before. We know there's no cure, and we know that once you go into this place, you don't come out. But it's amazing the challenges and the path that you have to take as a caregiver to deal with this. So.
Were there certain symptoms that you recognized right away, and did it completely just throw everything and shock you that they were both diagnosed at the same time?
Yeah, so, it's funny, my siblings and I, we always think about, we ask that question of ourselves often. What was the turning point? What was the moment? As parents get older, they maybe hear less or go slower or, drive slower or there's a number of different things. But I think the moment where we knew that something was wrong, quote unquote, was, basic daily tasks became monumental things. When we started to see that, we knew that this is beyond just growing old. This was something that was beyond that. And through medical, obviously, diagnosis and help, we knew that this was beyond that, and they were diagnosed both with Alzheimer's. So, my dad was an avid card player, and we were playing cards, and he couldn't make a simple decision, which he would have been a stealth card player, and we knew that's not right, He's 84 next week, but he showed symptoms probably around 77, 78, and we brought him to his doctor, and clearly he was, and Mom, not a month later, interestingly enough. So.
And it's been a long journey for you in these years. When you visit with your father now, what are those visits like?
So, actually, it's not a visit. It's more of a check-in. He's catatonic. There is no communication. There's no expression of love. Arguably, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. We go and see him just to check in. We've never. I lost my dad probably 4 years ago, maybe three to 4 years ago. There is no emotion. There's no. I almost equate it to like a light that you can dial down, like a dimmer, and it goes lower and lower. Well, it's off now, and he just has no. I asked the doctor one time, I'm like, what is he thinking? And the doctor said he's not. He's just in the moment, But he couldn't. I don't think he can speak anymore, even if he wanted to. But visits are just more of a check-in. I saw him last week. He was asleep and in peace, but there is no communication. I mean, there hasn't been for a couple of years now.
How do you help families, Meghan? This is so devastating, that what John has been through, and I know he's not alone. How do you help families who are dealing with this?
Definitely. Well, so a big part of what we do is the education piece, because there is still so much misconception and myths about what Alzheimer's disease is, what dementia is. And so one of the things we do is teach about the 10 early warning signs of Alzheimer's or dementia. And so like John said, they started to notice that his dad was starting to struggle playing his favorite card games. So we want to teach people that Alzheimer's disease is a very different process than normal aging. That it's a myth that everyone gets a little touch of dementia. That's actually not true. That having a disease like Alzheimer's disease is a specific experience that's happening in the brain, a specific set of symptoms. And so with his dad, when you start to notice that someone can't play their favorite card game, that would not be a normal part of aging. With normal aging, your brain does lose some of its agility, just like your body does, but you wouldn't forget how to play probably your favorite card game that you've always played. So if you start to notice those warning signs, that's when we really want people to go and talk to their doctor, or we really recommend going to a specialist who specializes in memory loss, memory disorders. And so we go out in the community and teach education programs like Know the 10 Warning Signs. And then we also always teach free education programs specifically for family caregivers, such as effective communication strategies, understanding and responding to dementia-related behaviors, so that families just have some coping skills and can learn how to better care for their loved ones. And so we're trying to provide those tools and that education and information for families all the time.
I think for families, though, it has to be really difficult, because you're saying, recognize the early warning signs, but there's no cure.
There's not.
So
There's not. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Some
That's
people
exactly
might
right.
want to say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this yet until
Right.
it gets really bad.
Right.
And that's a struggle, because there are benefits to early diagnosis, and that's the message we want to get out there. And then another big part of our mission is around brain health. So we're just trying to communicate to the public too that there are things you can do to reduce your risk of cognitive decline. And that's just mostly keeping as healthy as possible, nutrition, keeping your brain active, exercise, doing cognitive activities to keep your brain active, socializing is so good for brain health. But sometimes you can do all that and you still develop Alzheimer's disease, so we know that as well. And so the other big part of what we want to do at the Alzheimer's Association is just to be there and provide care and support for families like John's family, so that they know that they can always call our 24/7 helpline. So anyone at any time, day or night, can call our 24/7 helpline. It's actually staffed by real people 24/7. And you can get advice on anything from either a small question, if you want to know more about home health care, you can ask about that, or you can get more in-depth counseling and care consultation and information. We provide emotional support a lot on our helpline, and so we'll be on the phone with families for hours on our helpline, just helping them through a different process, whether someone just got diagnosed or whether someone is trying to figure out, is this the point in the disease where they need more professional help or need to go into an assisted living or a skilled nursing facility. So we just help families through those types of questions, through those types of situations. So anyone can call that helpline, like I said. And they can also call our 24/7 helpline just to find out about local support groups as well. We run a lot of support groups. Our volunteers run a lot of support groups. And we also have a program called Alz Meetups. And this program is actually geared towards those in the early stages of Alzheimer's or dementia. So the point of an Alz meetup is for someone who wants to just go and socialize and meet others who are also experiencing mild memory loss like themselves. So in those early stages, there can still be so much isolation, even though you're still able to function quite well, but you still are experiencing that memory loss. And sometimes people start to just withdraw from their social circles and friends, or friends withdraw from them. And so we don't want that to happen. And that's the worst that can happen, when people lose their social circle or family support. So one of the points of the Alz meetups is, like I said, to provide that socialization piece for families or an individual living in the early stage, and a caregiver or care partner. And it's to do something fun and social together. Like just last week, we went and did a tour of the Wisteria Hearst Museum in Holyoke, where we'll go and do a tour of different museums, go to a theater, things like that, do something fun together. And that's all free for families from the Alzheimer's Association.
John, what is your message to families who are struggling, who need help, who haven't sought help yet?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I've struggled with that very question for years. What do I do? One of the biggest things that I learned was you're not alone. I've often felt, and I'm sure my sisters who are watching, we felt alone. There's a lot of resources out there. Frankly, just talking about it is an incredibly therapeutic thing. because, like I said, there is no playbook. There's no rules as how it's going to go. There's no beginning to end timetable. You just don't know. So I've learned that you're not alone. There's a number of wonderful resources, as she explained. But also, I think if you truly believe that a family member has this, or even just in life, if you know that you have a parent or a loved one who is declining, take the time to ask questions that you always wanted to ask. We did a lot of that. We asked questions like, Mom, Dad, what was your favorite vacation? Or, tell me when you met Mom. That's a wonderful story. Knowing that we knew in the back of our minds, because the diagnosis was made and they told us, not them. And I remember when I was told the diagnosis, and then a couple of days later I said, I got to find these things out, Another thing I would say is that as objective or maybe business-like as it sounds, there will come a day when you have to take care of everything, financially, statements and bills and whatever. You have to get ready for that. The last thing you probably want to do is tell the telephone company that your dad can't come to the phone because he's incapacitated. Get all that stuff in order. And I mean that because having all that in place is an incredible ease when the voice you're speaking for can't speak for themselves, So my advice is be strong, lean on your family, lean on these incredible resources with the organizations that are out there. But remember that this is coming, but you don't know how fast it's gonna come. But try to ask questions you always think you wanted to ask and didn't.